Hi, I'm Randy Altman with Post Perspective. We're here with Greg Dolan from Xytech. Hello, Greg.
Randy, how are you today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for chatting. So the elephant in the room is there was no NAB this year. You guys were set to exhibit.
Mhm.
Why don't you talk a little bit about Media Pulse 10 and some of the upgrades, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff as we go.
Well, as you know now, Media Pulse is sort of our flagship product, and we haven't really displayed that to people in a couple of years now. So version 10 has a number of changes in it, a lot of stuff around personnel, but really there's a much bigger focus on performance, on cloud performance, on security up in the cloud, and on beginning to move the whole user experience into more of a commercial grade user experience. You know, 10 or so years ago, if you bought a resource management system and you had a 100-person facility, Randy, 15 people would use the application. The old scheduling departments would use the application, and everybody else would use reports or something like that. Now, if you have a 100-person facility, we have to find technical solutions for 200, 300 people. It's all of their staff, all of their freelancers, all of their vendors, all of their customers. All have to have some sort of interface into this data to make the application really relevant. So we've been hard at work at that. We have a whole UX team that's been slowly incrementing those changes. The mobile platform is all out, along with tons of work in transmission, a ton of work in our media orchestration and automation. Sort of continuing down our path of making sure that whatever you enter into Media Pulse will talk to every other system in your ecosystem and keep you from having to enter data twice.
You mentioned mobility. I know that's a thing and a big part of Media Pulse 10, but also the cloud. Can you talk about that a bit?
Well, the cloud also has been accelerated with these current interesting times. Everybody had to go remote just like that in a heartbeat. And really the only way to accomplish that in a meaningful way is to use a cloud. So our cloud service allows us to put our application up in the cloud. Our application can also run in our client's cloud. So in some places, some customers, if we're switching live to air, they might not want to keep it in our cloud. They might want it behind their firewall. So we can take our application as it's configured in our cloud and configure it into our customers' clouds. And in certain places, we can still run on-prem as well. But the idea is to give customers a completely turnkey solution. They don't have to spin anything up. They don't have to use staff for this. It's all they need to do. All they need to worry about is to tell us how their business runs so that we can configure the software for them and then worry about running their business, especially these last couple of years where challenges are coming so fast and furiously. I don't even think that we realize it anymore. I think this has proven to be a really great solution and incredibly successful for us in rolling this out.
Well, also new. So back in February, you guys purchased ScheduAll. Can you talk a little bit about the purchase and also what you're taking from that product and putting into yours?
Yeah, we purchased them. We announced that in February. I'm happy to say they're closed on time on April 1st. Always peculiar closing a transaction like that on April's Fool's Days, but and as you know, Randy, it's a little bit peculiar for me. I came from ScheduAll, and then 12 years ago wandered out west. Wandered from the desert, thirsty and dying, and was taken in by Xytech. So the transaction closed on time and really well. And we spent the first couple of months. There was some realignment that we had to do with ScheduAll. It was sort of moving some resources, some people around, making some changes, making sure the business was right-sided, and that involved and basically canceling the ScheduAll plans to go to their next model. They were rewriting a product. Just didn't think that made a whole lot of sense. So we moved lots of that staff into our Media Pulse side. We've realigned all the ScheduAll support to make sure that the ScheduAll customers are getting the support that they need. Integrated the accounting departments, sort of cross-trained people, stitch it together as one company with two separate product lines as opposed to two companies owned by the same guy. And I think we're going to continue to sort of have to stare at this and make sure we're doing well. But so far, I think we've been really, really successful. ScheduAll, the product, is on pace for its best commercial year in over 5 years. So that's really exciting. We're still selling ScheduAll systems, which is I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm a little bit surprised. There's new projects kicking off. The support program under the new leadership there, Stephen Need and George Conaway, has done really, really well. And so that's proving to be remarkably successful, along with ingesting a whole bunch of people who have really great experience, domain experience in our market, sort of understand what we do, and plugging them directly into our product lines where they can make impacts immediately.
You touched on the future a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about what people could expect from you in the next 6 months to a year?
So there's a couple things moving out, looking on a couple tracks. The infrastructure track, making sure that the cloud stuff remains safe, secure, and scalable. We're ISO certified now, so we have people coming in auditing us pretty regularly as we grow from a relatively small scheduling company into sort of we might be the largest software company in the broadcast sphere at this point. Given the vast array of customers that we have all around the world. So that maturity on the infrastructure will continue along, and we're very, very pleased with how that's going. On the product side, there's a couple of main initiatives that idea towards really great consumer grade user experiences. There's a wonderful woman by the name of Teresa Sullivan who's leading that charge for us and doing really great work. She's doing some remedial work in version 10, version 11, which will actually come out at IBC next year, 2022. She'll have a ton more work there. And the other thing that we talked about this in the past is the idea of using constraint solvers and AI to do advanced resource management, to do dynamic sort of capacity management, to do long-term planning, tied not just to what I'm doing right now, but tied to really long-term budgeting as well. We're releasing pieces of software in our version 10 platform. We have maybe a half dozen customers who are live with a couple of those pieces that will continue to release out through the version 10 versions, which will probably terminate sometime in April. And then we'll move into the complete capacity planning for the release that will come out in September.